The first time I saw the void blink back at me, I knew something had already died. Not a person, not a planet, but an idea and expectation that humans could be tamed. I was Lieutenant Marave, a pilot aboard the UN exploration freighter Orion's Reach, and we had just crossed the Tethys Rift when the signal arrived. Not a distress call, not a warning. It was an invitation, or perhaps a challenge. A luminous anomaly hung in space like a suspended cathedral, translucent waves of green and silver rippling across its surface. And from that shimmer came voices. Not voices like ours, but thought forms, emotional pulses that struck directly into the mind. "Are you not afraid of war?" the alien mind asked, echoing to the marrow of my bones. I blinked. We were thousands of light years from Earth. Aliens didn't just ask questions. They demanded answers. And in that moment, I realized they weren't sure what they were seeing. But that was only the beginning. The first glimpse of them left no room for human logic. Their forms were a haze of shifting geometry, fractal limbs folding and unfolding like thoughts made flesh. They called themselves a Xyler, and for them, war was an incomprehensible concept, a brutal, illogical anomaly in the universe's pattern. Yet they were studying us. Curious, apprehensive, terrified. We docked aboard their orbiting station, a lattice of translucent alloys that seemed to breathe with a life of its own. The Xyler guided us silently, their presence a constant hum in the air, vibrating against our nervous systems. I could feel the tension coiling in my crew. Fear was natural for them, but not for me, not fully. I had learned that fear was a tool, a restraint, and some tools were meant to be broken. "What do they want from us?" My second-in-command, Jensen, whispered, eyes wide at the alien forms. "Not what we want from them," I replied. "They want to see what we are." But what I saw next changed everything. They brought us to the core chamber, a room filled with suspended holographic worlds, flickering like constellations in a jar. Each sphere was a battleground, a record of civilizations lost, of planetary conflicts ended before they began. The Xyler were meticulous archivists of violence they themselves had never known. "You fight." A voice resonated inside my skull. "Without fear." "Why?" I hesitated. Could I explain centuries of human history boiled down to a single answer? Survival, defiance, hope, love, hatred, all of it. Our species had evolved in chaos, thriving not in spite of war, but because of it. And I said the first thing that came to me, because we must. But even that seemed insufficient to them. They had never seen a species that embraced confrontation, that thrived in the storm of danger rather than cowering before it. Their eyes, or what we interpreted as eyes, flickered with confusion. A warning pulse ran through the station. "You must leave," they communicated suddenly, an edge of panic vibrating in their tone. "You do not understand the consequences." "What consequences?" Jensen demanded. "We've already walked through your halls. You've scanned our minds. Are you saying we shouldn't be here?" The Xyler did not answer immediately. Instead, the chamber shifted. The holographic world swirled faster, revealing a new scene. Earth engulfed in war, cities burning, oceans choking on fire, humanity at the brink. And in the chaos, there was a strange calm, a small cadre of humans leading evacuation efforts, coordinating defense, saving lives while fighting battles no alien mind could comprehend. "They are not afraid," one of them said. "They are reckless but effective." And that was the mid-story rehook. The Xyler had made a decision, or perhaps an observation, that shook me to my core. They were debating whether to intervene, to impose their order on us before our violence spread further. But then a faction among them argued, "Are humans necessary?" I could feel it then, the weight of their logic pressing against my thoughts. To them, humans were an anomaly in the universe, chaotic, destructive, yet undeniably alive. And for the first time, I understood why they feared us even as they studied us. But the tension escalated faster than I could process. The station shuddered. Warning sirens. Holographic alarms. Something had breached the outer lattice. A Xyler research vessel had been destroyed, blown apart in seconds by an unseen weapon. And then came the revelation. It wasn't us. It was another alien civilization, far older and far crueler, called the KRYTH. They had been hiding in the rift, waiting for an opportunity. And now, their attack threatened to consume the station. We were trapped in the heart of alien judgment, and the universe was watching. The Xylar turned to me. Their thought forms flared with panic and desperation. Fight! If you do not fear death, fight. And I understood. They were asking us humans to stand in a war they could not comprehend. Not because they doubted our ability to fight, but because they had never imagined a species that could. None of us were prepared for the truth. We suited up, donning exosuits integrated with both human and Xylar tech, a hybrid of instinct and calculation. I led a squad through corridors alive with flickering alien energy, the KRYTH forces tearing at the station's defenses. Every step was a dance with annihilation. Every breath, a defiance of the universe itself. "What do you feel?" Jensen asked, voice tight in the calm fear. "No," I said. "Purpose. Clarity." The battle was unlike anything I had ever known. KRYTH drones tore through walls, plasma fire burning the alloy like paper. The Xylar could not predict our tactics. They calculated probabilities, but humans were not bound by probability. We were improvisation incarnate, and in that improvisation, we found victory. We retook the core chamber, and I faced the KRYTH commander, a monstrous, shifting form that seemed to drain the light around it. Our weapons barely scratched its surface, but I charged anyway, leading my team in a coordinated strike that even the Xylar had not expected. We survived. We won. But the victory was not without cost. Jensen lay gravely injured, and I could feel the Xylar's emotional shock, their realization dawning slowly. Humans fought not for survival alone, but for each other, for the bonds that made war worth facing. The aftermath was quiet, hauntingly so. The Xylar gathered us in the core chamber once more. They were no longer the curious archivists. They were students, witnesses to a truth they had never fathomed. "You," one of them communicated finally, "are not creatures of fear. You are legends waiting to happen." I looked at my crew, at the damage we had endured, and at the fragile, trembling forms of the Xylar around us. And in that moment, I understood something profound. Fear is not universal. Courage, defiance, and love, these are not bound by logic or alien reasoning. They are human, and that was our power. But even as we left the station, the voices of the Xylar echoed in my mind, a warning, a question, a challenge. Will you always fight, even when the universe tells you not to? I smiled, bitter and tired, as the Orion's reach jumped into hyperspace. "We always have," I whispered, "and we always will." The stars stretched into streaks of white light. Silence returned. But somewhere in the lattice of alien thought, a truth had been planted, a seed of awe, and perhaps fear of humanity itself. And I knew the universe would never see us the same way again. The first human war in the void had ended, but the legend of fearlessness had only begun, and that was only the beginning.